what I do personally and with my clients is a fountain of youth, because when we are really able to be, for the most part, experiencing deep levels of peace and lots of joy in our life and thriving, our inner pharmacy is kicking out beautiful chemicals. And even the science of epigenetics shows it changes our genes. It changes everything about us.
You're listening to Elevate, the official podcast of Elite Agent for real estate industry sales professionals, property managers, and leaders. We are proud to present Courageous Conversations, a podcast series focusing on the tough decisions people have made to put themselves on a pathway to success. This episode is brought to you by Connect Now, who makes the business of moving easier for both you and your clients. For more information, visit connectnow.com.au. Please welcome your host, Leanne Pilkington.
Hey everyone, Leanne Pilkington with you for the latest edition of Courageous Conversations. And with me today is Kathryn Ford. Hey Kathryn, how are you?
Hello, I'm great. It's so wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for making the time. Now, you and I first connected not that long ago when you were part of a Real Women in Real Estate event that we had in Arizona, or in Scottsdale, right?
Yes, absolutely. You're right.
And so why don't you tell everybody what you actually do?
Okay. So I am a women's empowerment expert and celebrity consultant. And essentially, I design incredible next chapters for women who are ready to make the rest of their life the best of their life. So they know they're meant for more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I loved hearing your story. That was why I reached out to do a podcast with you. So tell everybody why this is what you do. How did you find this?
Such a great question. And I definitely can connect the dots in my life, and I am doing what I am supposed to be doing. And definitely it's my purpose in life. So my story began 33 years ago this year, 33 years ago, when I was 26 years old. So I'll tell you who Kathryn was at that time. I was a highly successful executive in human resources at a corporation here in the United States, loving my work, getting promoted consistently, and that was all fantastic. So very much a thriving young woman. Personally, though, I was very impoverished. I was a couple of years into a highly toxic marriage. And I didn't even realize the toll that was taking on me. My then husband had issues with rage in our home, all kinds of things. Later, I would come to find out he had some untreated mental health issues and all kinds of, things like that. And I was driving home one day from work, had a really bad headache, didn't think much of it. I was busy and just thought I'll just push right through it. And took a couple aspirin, went to bed, and would end up going blind in my left eye. So you can imagine, 26 years old, I was devastated. And I was living about an hour and a half from the main Mayo Clinic here in the United States. And so I immediately made an appointment with them, went down to see what was going on with me physically. They ran all kinds of tests and said, "We are so sorry to tell you this, but you have MS. You have multiple sclerosis." Oh, I'm telling you, Leanne, didn't even know what to do at that point. I thought all of my hopes and dreams as a young woman were just shattered. And the nurses were coming in after the doctors, trying to, from a place of love, prepare me for all the really scary things that were going to happen to me. They left the room, and I said, no, I am not signing up for that. I'm so grateful at the age of 26, I had the presence of mind to claim that for myself. And I said, I'm going to be a medical miracle. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. So I am by nature a researcher. So I set out and started researching what in the world was allowing people to thrive, even when they were facing really dire conditions, huge challenges in their life. And in the mid 90s, I ran across Dr. Bernie Siegel, and I knew I struck gold. He is a leading authority on the mind-body connection, still is today. And I just knew he talked about how what's going on in our life affects our health and well-being and all of that. So I devoured all his books, took what he taught in those books, and developed tools for myself, took what he had and just grew it, made it even just larger for me, and with all these tools, and was using everything that I had developed, going about my life. Fast forward 22 years later from that initial diagnosis, I would find out I had been misdiagnosed. So another shocker, right? And I thought it was going to be good news, but the doctor said, no, actually, it's not. You have something far more serious. And I mean, I thought, who is going to wake me up from this nightmare? More serious? What is more serious neurologically than MS? And he said, well, it's called neuromyelitis optica, or NMO. It's a super rare disease, and you happen to have it.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So I went into power mode again, and I'm a researcher. So I started researching, and lo and behold, now 22 years later, there's a doctor practicing at Mayo Clinic who's a leading expert in the world on this really rare condition. So again, went down there, made an appointment. The doctor walked in the room, turned around to walk out. And I thought to myself, what is he doing? And he stood in the doorway and he said, are you Kathryn Ford? And I said, yes. And he said, oh my God, you don't even look like someone who's had MS for 22 years, let alone this worst condition. What are you doing besides the medication that you're on? So I just downloaded everything, told him about my beliefs in the mind-body connection, that we have an inner pharmacy, and everything going on in our life with our business, with our relationships, all affects our health, and our health affects those things too. And we've got this inner pharmacy. So if I'm thriving and happy in those other areas of my life, my inner pharmacy is kicking out beautiful, sparkling chemicals, right? However, if I'm in a toxic relationship, or if I'm longing to finally find the love of my life, or if my business isn't performing the way I want it to, it's too many stress chemicals, that too much cortisol. And we're not meant to be kicking that out over long periods of time. It's very aging, and it's hard on every cell in our body. And he's like, oh, he said, I just can't agree with you more. This is amazing. You've got to get this out into the world. And I said, what? He was the first doctor to just sort of put that out there. And I said, honestly, I've just been trying to save myself. And he said, oh, no. You can help so many people, because everyone has some sort of dis-ease. And we agreed on this. We all have something. If we could change it in the next 6 months to a year in one of those categories, health, wealth, or love, it would make the biggest difference in our life. And he said, that's what you're all about. And so I told him I would consider it. And a couple more professionals said, you got to get this out there. So in 2013, I founded Excellence Institute. And I've been doing this work with women ever since, having enormous success. And I just have to just pause for a moment, because you're probably wondering, whatever happened to that first marriage that I was in?
Well, I'm thinking that you might have ditched it.
It took me a long time, though, far too long. I grew up in a family that had pretty strong beliefs that divorce was not an option. And we, basically, you made that decision, you need to figure it out, you need to work harder. And the harder I tried, the worse it got. And so I stayed in it far too long, but finally did get the courage to get the divorce. He just did not want it at all. He was very concerned about what things looked like to the outer world.
Sure.
And even though the marriage was not healthy, he did not want it. So he was kind of dragging his feet, and some of his, challenges were surfacing. And then the perfect storm happened. We were a month away from getting the judge to rubber stamp the divorce. We were still living in the same home because he refused to leave until after that happened, that actual, we were divorced. So he called me from work one day and told me that he lost his job. They let him go. So here is a man, if you can just picture it, his whole life is crumbling, right? His wife is leaving him. Now he has no, work in the world. He was a marketing executive, highly educated, and he's dealing with untreated mental health challenges. So he ends up coming home finally. We got into an argument. He went down in the basement and came up with a gun. So I am really very fortunate to be here for a couple of reasons. One, my health, and two, this, yes. And it's just the professionals in our community. We lived in a very upscale community. They were amazing. It just goes to show, though, that we really don't know always what's happening behind somebody's front door. It crosses all those economic backgrounds, everything. Yeah. And so this is definitely my work in the world, because I've had some pretty extreme challenges in my own life and have transformed those, and had financial setbacks after that whole scenario happened, and it was very financially challenging.
Yeah.
So I have literally gone from tragedy to triumph in each one of the three categories of my own life. Yes.
Now I have to raise this, and I hate bringing up a woman's age, but you said you were 26, 33 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I turned 59 in February.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're the same age. Sadly, we don't look it, but we are the same age.
No.
You look amazing.
You do.
You look amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, I love to say that really what I practice with what I do personally and with my clients is a fountain of youth, because when we are really able to be, for the most part, experiencing deep levels of peace and lots of joy in our life and thriving, our inner pharmacy is kicking out beautiful chemicals. And even the science of epigenetics shows it changes our genes. It changes everything about us. So it's pretty exciting.
It's amazing. I just don't even know where to start. So if somebody comes to you and it's like, you know what, I'm just not happy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Where do you start?
That is a great question. Each woman will have that one thing. So when I ask her, there may be many things in all three of those categories: health, wealth, and love. But there is that one thing that if she could change it would make the biggest difference. If she could change that in the next 6 months to a year, that we call her major initiative.
So do people actually know what that is, or it takes them to discover it? Yeah.
Not always. And so I have a method that I take them through to discover what that is. And then also we do look at the other categories. So say a woman comes to me and she says, I'm an entrepreneur and I just am not receiving the financial flow that I would love. We focus on that. I basically help her build a blueprint. And we don't just take baby steps. This is a quantum leap. I mean, she is going to need a telescope to look back to see how far she's come. So we really go deep within that, and we look at her relationship category, dial that up, and her health and well-being. And usually the clients that I work with are interested in maintaining youthfulness. So we do some fun things around that too. So we're focusing on the entire woman, and that's really my secret. We can't just segment our lives.
No, I guess that's really true. And so how long do you work? So take me, how would you start? Do you have like a survey? Do you meet face to face? What do you do with people?
Yes. So within Excellence Institute, a membership in the Institute with Meant for More involves private time and group conference call time.
Okay.
So the private time is just like this via Zoom.
Yeah.
And the conference calls, my clients, they don't want to be camera ready for those. And some of them, even celebrities, et cetera, and just anyone, doesn't necessarily want to have her identity revealed,
Sure.
depending on what she might be going through. And so it's, I meet women where they're at. So we have some women who are, very much into sharing and asking questions and that kind of thing. And you don't even have to give your name, or you can share your first name. Doesn't matter. But friendships are made. Women crave connection. And I'll tell you, over the pandemic, it was so amazing to have, the women come together each week for this conference call. And I coach women all over the world. It's so easy with technology.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah. So they come together and I teach on that conference call all of my tools and practices. And then you will hear from other women, I took this tool that Kathryn taught and I used it in this way. And even though I call it, what I developed was a personal passion prescription, even though yours will be individualized to you, it's your blueprint, you still can learn and glean a lot from another woman's experience using it, and how she did it and all of that. And then of course there's the opportunity to ask questions. Then we also meet like this one-on-one, and that's where I can wrap my arms around your life and really take you off, just soar right away. Probably I get comments regularly from women who have just been with me 2 to 3 weeks that they're already feeling such a change.
Really?
And noticing results in their life.
So can you give us an example maybe of one of the tools that that you've had success with?
Oh, yes. What category would you like to?
Oh, gosh. Well, let's do business.
All of them. Yes, business. Oh, I love it. So, there's so many. The first thing I do with, this really applies to all categories, is I ask my clients to sign up for Easy World, where everything is easy. So when we notice that we're making something hard, and this is for everyone listening right now, you want to do this. When you notice, oh, I'm struggling with this, or I can't seem to close a deal, or, whatever it might be, I can't get this into escrow, whatever it is, that's when you want to stop and you want to take a few breaths, because your nervous system is in control. Our nervous system is the controlling body of our entire being, right? So you want to take some breaths and clear that. And you want to get out of the fight or flight and into that calming side, because that's where all solutions come from, that when we're feeling that calm resolve. And so you want to say, oh, that's right. I live in an easy world where everything is easy. Now, I recognize I was making that hard. If it were easy, and this is a way we can sort of get out of the circuitry of our brain, and the answer will come. If we ask it like this, if it were easy, what would it look like? And pretty quickly after you practice this a little bit, it'll drop in. It'll just drop right in. These answers will come to you. And then you can breathe and just move forward with that approach. So we also, another piece especially, works in all categories, but it's great for business, is to know about the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system is that bundle of nerves in our brainstem that really, we tell our brain what to go look for.
Yep.
So, and science says, we get what we focus on, right? Yep. We live in an energetic electromagnetic field, and basically we are just putting energy out there all the time. And we connect with the people, places, things, and results that are a match to it. So if I'm telling my brain, let me tell you this way. If I decide I want to go buy a red Corvette, and I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm going to go drive that this weekend. It's going to be so much fun. All of a sudden, I planted that seed in my brain about a red Corvette. I'm going to start seeing them everywhere here in Los Angeles, right? And I'm going to go, wow, I didn't know so many people had a red Corvette. This is unbelievable. They were there already. It's just my brain wasn't focused on them. So we live in an infinitely abundant universe. Everything that you would love, all of the results in your life that you would love are there. It's just a matter of learning how to focus. And then I also teach how to allow and receive. So I love the whole aspect of receiving in business too. And it's so much easier that way when we use our divine feminine energy on the front end, and we receive the best strategy, the best approach for something, how to quickly close something, all of that. And then we do the doing after. But we live in a world that has programmed us to do. It's so much very masculine energy, right? So it's, okay, we have to do everything, all the things. I should be doing all the things and working all the time, right? And I ask you to flip that. And most women are so delighted to do that because they have a lot more time to enjoy their life.
But
and
how can you flip it? Because I'm a doer. I'm one of those people. I'm always doing something.
I was too.
Yeah.
And I was wearing myself out, actually.
Yes.
I was my belief pattern, and this is very common as well. And it's set up in our early years, right? From well-meaning adults, we absorb what we see. We may be told, like I was, fortunately, you can be, do, or have whatever you would love, but it's going to be hard. You're going to be working all the time. So that got laid down in my subconscious. So I was highly successful and working all the time. So I had to undo that, let that belief come up for repatterning and release it. And I have tools and techniques that I take my clients through to do this. And then we install basically a new operating system. Because if I keep that belief in place, I flip it around, I can't be successful, because my belief is, in order to be successful, I can be, do, or have whatever I love, but I have to be working all the time, and it's going to be hard. So I can't be successful unless I'm working all the time. No matter how much you try, we are governed by our paradigms. Our subconscious is quietly controlling every area of our life, right? So there are some great tools and techniques to just release those and install what we would love. Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
It really is. And the result, I'm all about results. That's what's fun to see.
Yeah, I'll bet. And so what about youthfulness? What would be the best tool for start with youthfulness?
To really, this is the number one life mastery skill, to notice what you're noticing and to really practice that. Notice what you're noticing. Notice what you're focusing on, right?
Yeah.
We get more of what we're focused on. Notice how you're feeling. Am I frustrated? Am I upset? Do I have this person in my office who just knows how to drive me crazy? Right? And then the best thing to do after you notice something is triggering you or whatever, press an internal imaginary pause button. Just stop yourself. Again, we want to bring you back to calm and peace. Joy and peace are so good for maintaining youthfulness. Really, it's the key, because then again, our inner pharmacy is kicking out these beautiful sparkling chemicals, right? And a way to get yourself unstuck, like we'll just say from that coworker or that client, or you're doing your thing in real estate, and oh my gosh, this person is just getting in your way. To remind yourself that it's happening for you, not to you, so that you can say, okay, there's something in me that is allowing and having, that's why I'm reacting this way. And I want to respond. So that's another key, is I really work with women and teach them how to respond differently, because it's the definition of insanity when we keep trying harder, the same thing over and over. And why I keep trying. It's like the fly on the window who, can't seem to get out and keeps hitting the window pane. If the fly would just turn a little bit, the window's open over there, and it could just fly right through. We do the same thing as people. Yeah. Yeah,
it's really interesting. I saw some statistics the other day that said 95% of people think that they are self-aware, but only 10 to 15% of people actually are. And it's like, oh gosh, because I think I'm self-aware. Maybe I'm one of those people who think I am, and I'm not. Do you see that a lot, that people just have no real awareness about this whole thing? It's happening for you, not to you, because people are often blaming.
Definitely. I would say most people on the planet, that's a stumbling block for them. They really do think that it's out there. And I mean, honestly, we would have to change the whole world then for us to be happy. And so that is, I'm about empowering women. Yeah. So we have to stand in our strength and in our power and take our power back. So if I have somebody who's really triggering me and I'm getting so upset and I'm offended and whatever emotion I may be feeling, I have given my power away to them. I am allowing them to dictate how I feel.
Yeah, that's a powerful lesson right there. That alone is a really
life-changing.
Yeah, it so is. So I'm just really mindful of time. I could literally talk to you all day. What is next? What's next for you and the Excellence Institute?
Oh, so many things. The last couple of years have just been incredible with, as I said, bringing women together. We crave connection. Yeah. Just seeing people take one quantum leap after another. And this year we are stepping into that even greater. I've developed a new program, Ford Consulting, that is a totally private concierge level ability to work with me. So that's been exciting. And we're doing a lot of work around giving back as far as domestic violence goes.
Oh, wow.
In healthy relationships.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And if people want to see a little bit more about what you do, where can they find you?
They can find me at excellenceinstitute.com. And if they're interested in setting up some private time with myself or our concierge, they can just click the links on the site to do that as well. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm going to be checking you out. I haven't even done that. I haven't even checked out your website. That's terrible.
You have to.
I'm going to. I absolutely will. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again for taking the time. I know everybody's going to enjoy this conversation as much as I have.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Leanne.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Courageous Conversations, with thanks to connectnow.com.au. Don't forget to get access to all of Elite Agency's premium resources, including a detailed episode guide for this podcast. Visit joineliteagent.com.